Was that really the job for Kamala Harris last night? Not to put forth policy proposals, but to get under Donald Trump's skin?
Well, I think she did both. And I think she was effective largely because she was able to position herself as the candidate of change. I mean, it is really extraordinary to think that the sitting vice president was able to move herself away from the current administration, talking about some of her new policy proposals, even if they are not dramatic or, all that great of a departure. And at the same time, she was able to do exactly what her campaign telegraphed, which was get Trump to talk about the things he talks about at his rallies, which really is nonsensical gibberish that his base just cheers because it's a fun time had by all.
Well, Lara, speaking of fun times, I wanted to ask you about the big prize that Kamala Harris sort of won at the end of the debate last night, which was the endorsement of Taylor Swift and with it her 283 million Instagram followers. But J.D. Vance had some thoughts about that. Let's first hear what he had to say.
Look, we admire Taylor Swift's music, but I don't think most Americans, whether they like her music or fans of hers or not, are going to be influenced by a billionaire celebrity who I think is fundamentally disconnected from the interests and the problems of most Americans.
So well, that was on Fox News. And I just wanted to ask you, is it true? Is he right that Taylor Swift has no impact on the race at all?
Well, I think Taylor Swift is unique in terms of celebrity endorsements. She really does command influence in a way we have not seen before. And I can tell you this morning, I went to the dentist. I was having a conversation with my hygienist, who is from a Midwestern state. And she told me that I asked her if she had watched the debate. Being a good political scientist, I wanted to know what the people thought. And she said she watched about 20 minutes of it, thought it was too much conflict and too ugly, and she didn't like it, so she turned it off. And I said, well, did you hear that Taylor Swift endorsed Vice President Harris? And she said, you're kidding. Oh, my gosh, I've got to read it. I've got to find the post. I'm absolutely going to be talking to my friends, and all of us are now going to vote. So I will tell you, I was surprised because I didn't think that it would have that kind of an impact on the 23-year-old hygienist from the Midwest who's working on my teeth this morning.
I just want to get back to what J.D. Vance said there a second, whether they like her music or fans. They're not going to be influenced by a billionaire celebrity. Lara, was he talking about Donald Trump?
Well, I mean, or himself, right? I mean, he did write a book that was a bestseller. He has, earned quite a bit of money from those in Silicon Valley. He's not quite at the billionaire status, but certainly his running mate is. But I think it's so interesting because 300,000 people have already gone to the link that Taylor Swift tweeted out or posted on X that was for voter registration. So it's really kind of extraordinary, the influence and the message that she is sending about kind of get in the game and get yourself educated and ready to go.
Yeah, I also wanted to ask you, though, I mean, we've been focusing, and all of our colleagues around town have been focusing all day on Donald Trump's performance last night. Kamala Harris did, obviously a commanding job, but there were a few moments where, had it been a different opponent, we might be talking more about her. When she was asked about her policy changes, she said, I'm going to answer every single one of those, and then talked about fracking and ran out of time. But, how, absent Donald Trump, how would you assess her performance if she were debating someone else?
I do think she was very strong in her answers. It is true she was, I would say, a bit nervous and wanting to make sure she kind of hit her early marks. But as the debate went on, she grew, I think, more confident with herself, especially as she watched, former President Trump keep going down these rabbit holes. I mean, I just have to say, the thing that he said that she would never be able to get away with was when he said, I have concepts of a plan with respect to his replacing Obamacare. You know, he has been running on repealing Obamacare since 2015. It's now 9 years later. What sort of policy details or plans are there? Had she said anything near that, I think she would have been taken to task. So at the end of the day, these performances are always relative. What we are always looking for is actually a sense of stature, command, confidence, and clarity. And I think that people are willing to forgive a few things here and there because they know the task is a difficult one.